Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Maximum warp. Punch it. Punch it.
Punch it, Bishop!
Punch it.
Punch that shit!
Let's punch it.
Hello, everybody at home, and welcome. This is Punch It Writing in Star Trek. I am your co-host, Tristan Riddell, and with me, as always, is...
Charlene Schmidt.
Charlene Schmidt. We are here today to conclude the epic trilogy that is Voyager, The Next Generation.
Indeed. Now, who knew? When we started this thing, we didn't anticipate going through each of the movies, but here we are, and I'm pretty excited with how this has turned out. This is pretty much why I do this podcast with you, besides it being so much fun just doing it with you. But this is so dang intoxicating to be able to play in the sandbox that is Star Trek. And I know that it's completely unofficial, obviously. We're just two podcasters riffing. Right.
But it's so alluring and fun and cool to be able to play with these characters, move them around and tell them what to do and tell them how to die. And it's just...
Which we've done very well in this series.
And it's just... I love doing this, and I love that we're doing the what ifs more and more. And I would love to do more pure content creation where we've done our own shows in the past, like where we've said like, oh, okay, what would a 25th century TV show look like, or what would a movie look like with another crew? We did that long ago. I would love to do that again. I would love to revisit that someday and say like, okay, what's the show that's going to come out after Picard or after Section 31? Like, say, hey, we were contracted by Star Trek CBS, and so they want us to pitch them a new show. What would it be?
Yeah.
I would love to do that sometime.
Well, let's talk about that, because I've already got a few ideas just at the mere mention. And yeah, this is the fun of what Punch It has become, is we do explore all these what ifs, and yeah, these characters are here to play with at our disposal. You know, disclaimer, we don't own CBS or Paramount or any of these things.
As you've said before, like, this is what Punch It has become. Like, it started off as in, you know, like across fandoms, then we kind of narrowed it down to Star Trek, and then it was like analysis of certain episodes and their writing style and also their characters, which we still do. But I feel like we really hit our stride with the what ifs and with the pure content creation. And we'll go back to analyzing writing styles and everything like that. But this is what is getting me jazzed the most when I turn on the mic.
By far and away, this is the more creative aspect of our show, and I think it gets our listeners jazzed up too. We get more feedback on what ifs and explorations than anything else.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah, like, that's the topic that gets us the most input and opinions. And speaking of which, if you guys have an idea for us to talk about, whether it's an analysis or it's pure creation or an adaptation or a what if, what you can do is go to thenerdparty.com/contact, select Punch It from the drop-down menu, fill out the form, it'll send us an email, but you can also find us on social media too and reach out to us that way. Just go to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and search The Nerd Party. Will pop up. And you can also find us individually online. You can find me on Twitter at The Insane Robin.
You can also find me on Twitter, and my handle is the Profanity.
Now, what we're talking about today is, like I said, the ending to the trilogy that is Voyager and the Next Generation, because in the previous episodes, we had the exploits of the Voyager-A, captained by Miral Paris. That's where Mira. That's a good name, I think, Mira. But it's
yeah, I like it. Is that her nickname?
Mira doesn't save you any syllables, so I'm going to have to say no on that one. So Miral Paris is the captain, with XO being Naomi Wildman. That's just cool. And so if you haven't listened to the previous two episodes, you should listen to both. But if you're going to listen to one, listen to the Star Trek 09 episode that really sets up everything.
Yep.
And what we're going to do today is we're taking the Star Trek Beyond model and applying it to this crew that we've pruned and developed over time.
That's right. And so, to this date, this is the last movie we can do this with. For the time being, I mean, right now in 2019, they're still talking about possibly doing another movie, but who the heck knows?
yeah, it might not happen. There's a big chance that it won't happen. There's a really big chance that it won't happen, but it will forever live in our hearts as a good avenue and good Star Trek from the Kelvin universe. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and get started on that. So let's get a little background. So how did you? We all know about how you and I feel about Star Trek Into Darkness. After you walked out of the theater of Star Trek Beyond, how did you feel?
I felt way better than I did after Star Trek Into Darkness. I felt like Star Trek Beyond was a fun film. It was a great story. It was a great cinematic adventure. I felt like it was fairly solid for the most part. And character-wise, I mean, everybody was on point.
Yes.
Simon Pegg, as a writer of this production, I felt really helped inject better character moments and certainly a lot more humor into the story. And overall, I enjoyed it. And I feel like it's got a lot more rewatchability than Into Darkness. Now, when I'm thinking about these three films, I've watched Star Trek '09 more than any of the other two. But Star Trek Beyond, whenever I do watch it, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a really good time, and I enjoy visiting these characters. If this is, in fact, the last movie that we get out of this incarnation of this crew, I'm not sad. This is a great way to go out. What do you think?
I think so. Basically the same thing that you said, like absolutely 100%, because Star Trek '09 is the one that I've seen the most, watched the most, loved the most. But then right underneath that is Star Trek Beyond because of the character moments, because of the humor, because of the Star Trekkiness with how they solve problems.
Yes.
And but I think it's miles ahead of Into Darkness with all of those things. And I like how it ends with Kirk recommitting himself to Starfleet and them rebuilding the Enterprise, and we see a refitted Enterprise-A, and them. So even if we don't get another one, we know that these people are out there exploring the unknown and continuing their mission. And so it's okay if we don't get another one. Would I like another one? Absolutely, of course I would. But it's okay if we don't, because it was a nice wrap up. It was a nice send off specifically for Kirk and Spock.
Agreed. They have good arcs with these three films. I felt like Beyond really kind of brought that full circle. It did what it needed to do.
Yes, and I think when I saw it in the theater, I think the only real hesitation I had was like the opening I thought sucked. I was really saddened by the opening because if you like one of the best openings in Star Trek history, if not kind of modern movie history, was Star Trek '09.
Certainly.
And even Into Darkness, even if you didn't like the movie, I thought the opening was great. Both of them with the introduction of Khan as well as the introduction of the Enterprise crew. I thought those were great kind of stories that kind of built the tone. And with Beyond, I was just like, oh no, like with the aliens that were really small, but then you thought they were really big, and then they rolled in there, and then they were jumping all over Kirk, and you're just like, oh no, this is crap. This is gonna suck.
I mean, it has kind of the look and the feel of an average Star Trek episode.
A below average Star Trek episode.
Well, and for a movie, you've got to have it larger than life.
And the CG on top of that, the CGI of the aliens was really subpar, and so it's just like, oh no, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad.
But it was
I was
all
completely
uphill
wrong
from
though.
here.
It was completely, it was great. I was completely wrong, and so I love being wrong in those regards. and so I really liked the flow of it. I loved the sabotage fix at the end. I really did. I thought that was awesome. I just wish they didn't ruin it in the trailers.
Well, yeah, I was really disappointed by that. But if there's any one thing that you know you're in the Kelvinverse, it's the music, the beats and the shouting. If they're playing Sabotage, you're in the Kelvinverse. I think SETI Alpha 3 mentioned that not too long ago themselves, so I'm kind of stealing this from them.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with how we would apply it. So like fresh off of Into Darkness, or Voyage into Darkness, as we called it last week.
Yes, that was clever.
So with these characters, so we have Naomi Wildman, we have Miral Paris. So Star Trek Beyond kind of sets up the role of Kirk being kind of down on Starfleet. He's just like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, and not so much Starfleet, but captaining the Enterprise. He doesn't know if he want to continue going into the unknown, because he starts to say that everything feels episodic, and you look at his closet and it's filled with the same uniform over and over again. And
Right. I
yeah.
love this, by the way. This is one of my very favorite parts of the whole freaking movie. I would kind of love to start out this way. What would you think about that?
I think starting with that, yes. I think like forgoing that alien roly-poly nonsense and starting
Sure.
with this a little bit more introspective. Like if you can't start with a bang, start with a contemplation, and that's one thing I think would be good. So do we have Miral go through this?
I
Like,
think so. Yeah, like I see Miral at this point. She's commanded the Voyager-A for a little while. She's more than settled into the role. She's actually feeling a little too comfortable, and she's a little bored.
So with the time that's gone by since this, how long do we say? Like, do we say it's been 5 years, 7 years, 10 years?
Do we want to say it's the end of a 5-year mission?
How about we make it that? So like so let's say that it's ahead, like after Into Darkness. So like say that she was captain of Voyager for 4 years, and then for 3 years, and then Into Darkness happened. And then so that adds another 2 years. So it was 5 years, but then they put her onto another 5-year mission. So she just finished a 5-year mission after being captain of the Voyager-A for 10 years.
Ooh, that's longer than I was thinking. I was thinking 1 5-year mission where she's on the cusp of being able to move on and do something else, or take another 5-year mission.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. Like but the thing is that do the events in 09 and Into Darkness count as part of the 5-year mission?
Oh, maybe not 09, but maybe Into Darkness. Maybe that's a little earlier in the 5-year mission, and now maybe 2 or 3, maybe 3 years have passed.
Okay, so that would make it down to 7. So she's finishing a 5-year mission. She's been the captain of for the 7 years. I think that's a good number.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
7 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. She's like, maybe it's not so much like, I never liked the idea of Kirk becoming an admiral in Beyond, because I'm just like, listen, you became captain you were the person who became captain the fastest in history, and then all of a sudden, just like 5-7 years later, you're going to become an admiral. Slow your roll, okay?
A little fast.
Fast. I never really liked that. What if it's like she thinks about transferring, where it's like, do I move to another ship? Do I move to a ship that stays in the Alpha, like that, not stays in the Alpha Quadrant, but like stays close to Sol? Do I transfer to a station? What do I do? It's not so much a promotion, but a transfer of sorts. Do I get out of space? Do I go back to Earth? What do I do? That kind of thing.
Well, what would make Miral want to leave the Voyager-A? Because it's kind of, it's her ship. It's been the legacy for a while. I'm thinking, what if she needs to stay a little closer to home? What if there's somebody that she wants to be closer to? Is she in a relationship? Do we even want to go that route?
I don't know. I want to make it career-based. I don't know if I want to make it relationship-based.
I totally agree. As I was saying that, I was just thinking in the back of my mind, no. We've done that so many times.
Yeah, especially because she's a female captain.
Yep.
So what if it's something tied to B'Elanna and Tom? What if...
Aren't they dead?
Yes. But they are dead. But what if she tries to continue the work that they started on developing a new kind of ship, so we can mix in a little Archer in there too.
Oh, okay. So maybe she's been going through some of the materials that her mom and dad left behind, and there's a project she wants to pursue. It's incomplete. She wants to fulfill maybe something in their legacy.
Yes, and so that way she could transfer to Utopia Planitia, where they're just like, she pitches it to the Starfleet brass and says, like, I found these notes. I want to pursue this. I've been out in space for a long time, and I think it's time for me to move on and devote myself to this. And they're just like, okay, we hate to lose you as a captain, but this would be great. And so what if, to kind of jump ahead here, the ending is her realizing, like, no, I still want to be a captain of Voyager, but she builds the Voyager-B using Tom and B'Elanna's plans, and she's the captain of that ship.
New shiny ship. Yes, please.
New shiny ship, completely different design. And like they say, they're like, okay, Like, this is like what are we going to name it? And she's like, I have a suggestion.
Now, is it the Miral class ship?
I think because
Wait, no, it's the Paris class ship.
I feel like actually we have to kind of, because it's the first of its kind, the ship is named after the class, and so we'd have to make it a Voyager class ship.
Okay, fine. Okay, we can do that. We can do that. We can do that. We can do that.
We could do that. And so that's like, there you go. You have your beginning and end. You have your bookends where she gets the best of both worlds. She gets to build her ship. She gets to design and build her ship and then captain it.
Like it. So
yeah.
Let's go back more toward the beginning now. We kind of know Miral's arc, what's going to happen. She's contemplating whether or not she's going to leave the Voyager-A. Do we have a conversation where she's discussing this with Naomi?
I think we need to, but Naomi also needs to go through her own crisis because Spock was going through the crisis of his counterpart dying. So what the hell do we do with Naomi?
I kind of want Naomi to be a little bit of a mess. To be honest, I want her to both be elated, but then also really depressed at the thought of losing Miral as the captain, because it would mean she'd get a promotion. Mm-hmm. But, and while that would be really good for her, she's just thinking, this is not a good time. I don't know if I really want this. And I've also been thinking about some other thing, and I don't know. Do you like the idea of hot mess Naomi?
I don't know if I want to go full hot mess, but I want to go through troubled Wildman. I want to say, like, maybe she has some issues at home. Maybe we put her in kind of relationship issues.
What if something's going on with either her mom or her dad?
I think to get a Samantha tie-in, that would be good.
That would be kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're back on the Qatarian homeworld or something, and she kind of feels a pull to be with them. But, I mean, she's got this career thing going on. She can't just... Well, I mean, she can theoretically just hop on a shuttle and take some leave, but she, feelings of duty and loyalty and yada, yada, yada. Yay, Starfleet.
Yeah, and she, because I feel like instead of... Because in Star Trek Beyond, Kirk and Spock kind of danced around the issue. I don't want to dance around the issue. I want them to know each other's issues and know their problems. And I want them to actually communicate where Miral says, listen, I'm thinking about leaving Voyager, and that means that Voyager will be yours. And that's when Naomi goes, oh, crap. If you leave, then I become the captain, but I need to take some time. And because of my parents, or because something's going on with my parents. And so, and Miral's just like, yeah, something like that. And so that way Naomi's just like, well, I don't want to pressure you to stay. And Miral's like, but if we give it to somebody else, then there's a real hard chance that you'll be able to come back as captain, if you take some time off. And so it just kind of is this back and forth where Miral feels pressure to stay because of Naomi.
And then same for Naomi, though.
Same with Naomi, where she's like, okay, well, I need to stay in order to let Miral go.
Yeah.
And so the perfect solution at the end is Voyager-A being destroyed.
We're just going to kill everything.
Kill what you love.
That's right. Kill your darlings is one of my favorite, one of my friends. That's one of her favorite phrases. I'm going to say the same thing here.
So I think that works. I think that works for both parties. Because that way, while Miral is building the ship, Voyager-B, then Naomi gets to take some time off and be with her parents through whatever ordeal they're going with.
Yeah.
And then, but do we give Naomi her own ship at this point? Do we continue her being the XO of the B? Do we leave it up to a whole Inception type where we don't know?
That's such a good question. If she's ready for a promotion, does she really want to stick around as the first officer? I mean, is she the next Will Riker?
She might be. I think
we're backing her into that corner, and there's a part of me that does not want to, but I mean, this is kind of a thing where the crews stay intact over time.
This is very much a thing. This is a TV and movie thing where you constantly inhibit growth in order to keep everybody together.
It's true. So do we break that mold and we have her decide, look, Miral, I love you, but I've got to go off and do my thing. I want to serve alongside you as a peer, as a fellow captain, not as your first officer. Oh God, I don't know.
I say we leave it up to, like, I say the question is asked but not answered.
That's going to piss off a lot of people.
I think it works though, because if you get another movie, you can answer it. If you don't get another movie, then it's up to the viewer on what they think she would do.
I mean, yeah. Use your imagination. It's whatever you want it to be.
So, moving on from the character point stuff, the Voyager-A is sent to do we want to keep it a starbase? And do we keep it something special about the starbase? Because it's the Yorktown, right? That's the
Right.
name of it?
Uh-huh.
So, the Yorktown in the Kelvin universe is so freaking more advanced than any other space station that we've ever seen. So I feel like we could keep that exactly the same, even in the 25th century.
I'm totally on board with that.
Okay, so the Yorktown is exactly the same. Voyagers flying through it. They're just like, holy hell, this is a monstrosity.
This
what's
thing is
going
big.
on?
And it's cool looking.
Very cool looking. And so we can keep that the same. I think we can keep the nebula the same. I think we can keep all the action beats, but we have Krall, who's played by Idris Elba. I think we can keep that. What's Krall's secret in this timeline, in this version?
Good question. Because, it is pretty late for the whole Franklin kind of thing. And
it's a bit late to do the Franklin thing. And so, because as a reminder to everybody, Idris Elba was a Starfleet officer who was a Marine turned, like a Mako turned Starfleet officer who was a captain of the Franklin during the Enterprise era, the Archer era. And they used tech in order to extend their lifespan, and it deformed them, made them go a little crazy. And a la Insurrection.
Yeah, kind of. Steroids and life-enhancing drugs are not good, guys.
And so with that, like, I feel like we can keep those. I think we can keep all those beats, like, because Star Trek Beyond is very episodic in itself. Like, it's an entry in the universe. It's not unique to any specific time except for Krall's backstory. I think that's really the only thing that we need to change is Krall's backstory. Yeah.
That actually makes this the easiest movie to translate to our universe because we're keeping all the beats and shouting the same. So, Krall's background, let's hash this out. What is going to work here?
I think we need to keep him a Starfleet officer. And I would love to flesh out his anger and his resentment way more than Star Trek Beyond did, because I feel like was one major weakness of Beyond, is that the bad guys' motivations were not clear in the least.
I completely agree, and that's maybe one of the singular reasons why I like Star Trek 09 over Beyond is Krall really seems like just that stereotypical two-dimensional villain. He's angry, he's going to destroy everything. Okay, whatever. At least with Nero, you also have the comics to get more backstory, which helps a lot, but I feel like even he was a little more developed than Krall. So, yeah, we got to give him if he's going to be angry, let's give him a damn good reason to be angry.
And I feel like, if I'm remembering correctly, Krall's reasoning to do what he did was because, geez, I'm even having a hard time forgetting. Like, is it because he believes that the Federation has become complacent with its enemies?
Yes. Yeah, he feels like the Federation has gone a little soft. And he wants it to be just hardwired to kill if necessary.
And isn't that kind of just a straight up duplication of Into Darkness? Like, wasn't that Admiral... what's his name?
Marcus.
Admiral Marcus's motivation too? Like,
more
we need to be prepared for what's coming?
Yeah, it's just, the same kind of thought pattern, different context.
I would love to alter those. Like, I would love to alter Krall's motivation just a little bit more. Because it's not, I don't want it to just be revenge, but, like, saying that Federation has become complacent is, it's okay. Maybe to build off of another Peter Weller appearance in Star Trek, the penultimate episode of Enterprise, where you have the xenophobic humans
Uh-huh.
who believe that aliens should not be in the Federation or like actually, well, I mean, even be a part of Earth or the Earth Society or anything like that. What if we expand on that where it's like he is a holdover from that dying age, and in order to extend his lifespan in this nebula, he himself becomes alien-like and his crew becomes alien-like, and so he becomes basically what he hates, and it angers him even more because maybe the reason why he was there and crash landed was because of an aid mission from the Federation. Like he was sent for aid towards an alien race, and they got bombarded along the way, crash landed. And so if it wasn't for those stupid aliens and our alien-loving Federation, I wouldn't be trapped here.
Okay.
And so he develops a bioweapon that kills all non-humans. And at the end of it, he actually unleashes this bioweapon, but it ends up killing him and his crew instead because they're now classified as non-humans because they've been morphed so long that they're not recognizable as humans.
Yeah, maybe there's something that identifies human DNA or something, and if you don't have it, you're gone. Okay, that's more motivation and a better reasoning for why this person would be angry, why this person would have resentment toward the Federation, toward non-humans. Now, are we keeping the time period about the same? Like, you mentioned the end of Enterprise. Is this still kind of an Enterprise era person? Because we were contemplating earlier, is that a little too late? But it seems difficult to have somebody who's got that level of xenophobia going that's not from that era. Like, I can't imagine a 24th century person necessarily having that attitude. Now, maybe that's because Star Trek has brainwashed me, but we want to have that impression that we have overcome these things.
Yeah, I think I was having the same thought too, because I felt like we're kind of, by going with the xenophobic route, we're painting ourselves into a corner because it was believable in the 22nd century, not so believable in the 23rd, 24th, or 25th.
Right. So, I mean, should we keep that too? Should this be an Enterprise era person on an Enterprise era ship?
I feel like that is one way to go, and that's most likely the way to go. But what if we did something different where it was someone from the 23rd century and they're fresh off of a Klingon war? Say that it's Discovery era.
Okay.
And the Klingon war is over. And they basically are just like, listen, like in modern history, we've had the Romulans come after us. We've had the Klingons come after us. We like the Vulcans when we started the Federation were completely withholding on helping us, go into the galaxy family and everything like that. So what if they just basically had enough where they had a unique perspective. It was something unique to the age, but they got a lot of followers. Where, like, he was trying for a long time. Like, he was a captain, and he was curating his crew, slowly but surely, being as many humans as possible on his ship. And he was doing it during insidious ways, like getting rid of non-humans, getting rid of aliens, and just transferring them out. And it went mostly unnoticed. And maybe he planned on having his own ship with his own human crew in order to enact this revenge against all non-humans, because it took him that much time to actually find people who held his same beliefs.
Yeah,
so
maybe
it's
slowly converting people to his point of view as they serve with him, and then those who don't agree, they get shipped out. Now, that's the thing, though, is, enough people might start talking a little bit. I kind of feel like it doesn't need to be like almost this cult-like movement. It just needs to be a thing where they've come out of a war and this person has the attitude of, look, these aliens are just out to get us and destroy us. What are we doing with these stupid rescue missions helping people who are not humans when really we should be helping ourselves rebuild at this point?
Yes. I like that. I feel like maybe what if after they crash land, like it's not like maybe we're getting too into the weeds. So like he's not curating his own ship. He doesn't have a mostly human crew.
Yeah,
but maybe
I feel,
mostly.
sorry to cut you off, but maybe after that crash landing, then he comes out and he's like, you see what this gets us? And then maybe that's how he converts more of his crew, and maybe it's even so far as to kill the non-human members of the crew.
And those non-human members of his crew are the first ones to be put into the device that lengthen everybody else's lifespan.
Yes. I mean, that's brutal. And then there's also that tie-in with a lot of things happening in our world right now. A lot of people,
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm so sick of this. It's so backward, but here we are. Yes.
I feel like, yeah, it definitely ties into today. And I think that's much easier to swallow. And I think it's simpler and better and more to the point. And
so
then
there
it's
we go.
clear
We get
motivation.
a little bit of each.
There you go. So he's from the disco era.
Yeah.
Not the 70s. And
Disco Bones.
And I think that works. I think that's fun. And then so Jayla.
Let's talk about Jayla.
Is Jayla still Jayla? Is Jayla still female? Is Jayla male? What do we do with that? Because we have, like in Beyond, we had a mostly male crew.
Yeah.
And in ours, we have a lot more women in the crew. So do we continue just making Jayla a woman because she's awesome? Or do we switch it up?
I mean, I don't think we have to do anything different really to Jayla. Jayla can be Jayla, and she can be one of the natives on this planet. Her ancestors, I mean, they had the distress call, and they've been hunted this whole time. I don't feel like we have to do a whole lot of anything different with her.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I'm 100% cool with that. So Jayla basically stayed the same.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. Done. Hey, simplest thing we've done in a long time.
And then from that, I think so. We have our segments. Okay, so we have our people. So we have Spock and Bones together. We have Kirk and Chekhov together, and we have Scotty who's with Jayla.
Yes.
And we also have Uhura who's with Sulu.
Right.
So in our version, we haven't really defined our bridge crew too terribly much.
No, we haven't. So we don't know a lot of these characters that are going to be paired up. Now, let's assume that if these movies ever happened, of course we would have had more fleshed out characters. We're going to know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if we have enough time, honestly, today to really go through all of that and define these characters. That might need to be an episode unto itself if we want to go there.
I think, honestly, we can pretty much keep it the same in terms of roles. Where I would love to see Naomi Wildman and the holographic Doc together in the same circumstances.
That would be cool.
As Spock and Bones, and then like that way she can kind of let the Doc know what she's planning on doing or where she's trying to go, and I feel like he would be much more sympathetic than other people.
Mm-hmm.
To the plight because he knows her parents. He delivered her. Like it's all. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like even for just very raw character templates, like for for Scotty role, maybe our chief engineer is more of the comedic relief.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
That sort of thing. Working with Jayla, and they're going through all of their stuff. Now, big question. Big question. Is Miral going to trick everybody with a motorcycle? Because this is not really her thing. It's a Kirk thing.
I think that is definitely a Kelvin Kirk thing. I think she uses a speeder, kind of like in Star Wars, where it's a land speeder, and because her father was the big driver.
It's true. Okay, there we go. Done.
And also one thing that we did talk about was Naomi Wildman definitely did have a love interest on the show. So I think the love interest would be whatever his name is. He would kind of deal with Krall the most, kind of like Uhura dealt with Krall.
Okay, cool. That works.
And then everybody else would just kind of be basically the same types of characters, but just...
Sure. I mean, really, I think that's as far as we have to go for this, since we don't have fully developed characters. They're all new to us, and that's fine. So that's cool. And then, so the confrontation with Crawl, as we've been calling him, whoever he is. I mean, we should probably come up with a different name, but whatever.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. This confrontation ultimately helps Miral decide her fate, and maybe just, I think in the same way it did with Kirk, help her reinvest her belief in Starfleet and its mission of exploration and unity. I think that's got to be the message here.
And how she is a representation of that unity, being part Klingon.
Yes, but also part human.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's got to go into play too. I mean, she's kind of that ideal thing of, yes, this can work.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like, my parents made it work. Even if my grandparents didn't make it work, my parents made it work. And I can make this work within the Federation, within Starfleet.
Right. And yeah, that whole message of, hey, look, this is the way the world is shaping now, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you just get with the times.
Absolutely. I think that works, and we can still keep that whole thing where he does actually release the bioweapon, but it's accidentally released on his own people. And then there's that, but there's still, Voyager-A is still destroyed. We keep the ending that we talked about with it being rebuilt, and so Miral gets to take her crew and whomever wants to join her to Utopia Planitia to design and build the Voyager-B.
Right. We get the pretty reveal at the end, and off they go.
There you go. There you have it, folks. That was our episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you listened to our previous episodes. And if you want to listen to all of our episodes, you can go to thenerdparty.com/punchit or type in Punch It Writing in Star Trek in your podcasting app of choice. We are everywhere, so make sure that you can listen to us where you want. And we already talked about how you can contact us, and please do that. And one other thing that you can do for us is, if you like our show, if you like what we're doing, please go to Apple Podcasts, write us a review. And if you give us a 5-star review, we'll mention you on the show. You can write us any kind of review you want, but 5 stars get you a mention. So, Shar, we've kind of been spoiled with knowing what we're going to do every single week because of doing this trilogy. And next week, do you want to do that pure content creation with a new show, or do you want to do something else?
I think I'm on board with that. Let's have a pitch session where we pitch each other our ideas for the new show, and then if we have a favorite, maybe we start developing it. But let's see where that whole thing goes first.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it here, folks. Next week, we're going to do pure content creation of what a new show would look like in today's age. And so next week, we're definitely going to punch it.
Ready for warp, sir. Let's punch it.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.